be the same for some.
One of America's favorite candies will be missing from store shelves. Sweethearts candy, you know, those little hearts with expressions of love on them, are gone this year. Necco, the company that made these Sweethearts conservation hearts, was sold last year. CandyStore.com reports, CandyStore.com reports the only ones left were made before the factory closed last July. Spangler Candy, which bought the brand, didn't have time to make them for this year, but they hope to start producing the hearts again for Valentine's Day 2020.
Oh, no.
I miss you is what it should say.
Yes, yeah.
That's our time for now. We thank you for watching. Be careful going outside. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
Tonight at 5, a man is dead, a suspect in custody after a shooting in Janesville. What officials in Rock County are saying about the Wednesday night homicide.
An investigation is underway in Lafayette County after life in a fire.
And Madison police announced multiple arrests after a series of armed robberies in the city.
This is News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3. We are preparing for bitterly cold wind chills and temperatures.
Weather is going to be a very big story over the next couple of days. Gary Canalti is out on the weather patio. Gary?
I'd even go further than that, Susan. I'd say the weather is going to be the big story for about the next week because we have bitterly cold temperatures for the next couple of days, followed by a potential winter storm on late Sunday night into Monday, followed by dangerously cold temperatures as we head into next week. Now, tonight, we have a wind chill advisory that runs until noon tomorrow for all of southern Wisconsin for wind chills that could be from 20 to 35 degrees below zero by early tomorrow morning. We have alert days in the forecast not only for that, but also for Monday for a possible winter storm that could bring periods of heavy snow and some blowing and drifting snow. And then for next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we also have alert days in the forecast for low temperatures that could get down to 20 below zero or colder, wind chills in the morning at least to 40 to 45 below zero, high temperatures staying below zero, and wind chills even during the day staying from 20 to 25 degrees below zero. Now, we had some light snow showers and flurries that moved through. Those are heading off to the east. That's right ahead of a cold front, which is sweeping eastward across the state. And as we take a look at winter weather advisories, they still are in effect until 6 o'clock for Grant County and areas to the west and south for blowing snow. That wind chill advisory again for all of southern Wisconsin through noon tomorrow, and wind chill warnings are in effect to our south and west. These are high temperatures today, lower 20s, but you can see we've dropped already to the teens, single digits out to the west. The winds are picking up 15 to 25 miles per hour, and those wind chills now are approaching 15 below zero near the Mississippi River and will continue to fall. By tomorrow morning, look for temperatures to drop to between 10 and 15 below zero with wind chills as cold as 30 to 35 below zero. Could see a few flurries tomorrow afternoon. That high temperature only at zero. Like I say, it gets worse after that with the snow and then even colder weather for the middle of next week. I'll have your first alert forecast a little bit later on.
Definitely going to be a big story. Gary, thank you. Due to these colder temperatures across southern Wisconsin, the State Department of Health Services reminding people to take precautions. DHS offering multiple tips on how to protect yourself from the cold. Besides staying indoors, they say you should stock a home emergency kit that should include food and water. If you do go outside, dress in layers. Check on your friends, family, and neighbors if you can. And the department says to never run a gas or propane heater inside your home or garage and limit outdoor time for your pets.
Be sure to stay informed about the weather 24/7 by downloading our Channel 3000 First Alert Weather and Traffic app. It is always free in your app store.
Today we are learning more about a homicide that happened last night on Janesville's southwest side.
Police say the suspect involved is an ex-boyfriend accused of shooting a new boyfriend. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter is live on the south side of Janesville with the latest. Adam?
Well, Eric and Susan, police say they arrested 39-year-old Lucas Stohr in Monroe on first-degree intentional homicide charges after he allegedly shot and killed his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. Today we're learning more about a fatal shooting that happened last night in Janesville. Police arresting 39-year-old Lucas Stohr of Brownstown, Wisconsin for first-degree intentional homicide. They say Stohr shot an unnamed 41-year-old victim last night on the city's southwest side, catching neighbors by surprise.
I walked out of the house halfway down my property here on Crosby as I heard 5 to 6 gunshots, small caliber, it sounded like to me.
Following the shooting, police say Stohr fled the scene. Deputies from Greene County Sheriff and Monroe Police Department later were able to pursue him before detaining him at the Crazy Horse Campground in Broadhead. Police say the shooting was targeted and that Stohr was intending to shoot the victim, who had recently began dating Stohr's ex-girlfriend. Police Chief David Moore saying today that roughly 2/3 of homicides in the city are domestic related.
We work hard to put programs and initiatives in place for domestic violence issues and work cooperatively with our community partners, most notably the YWCA.
This is the first homicide in Janesville in 2019 and the first since a stabbing death on the city's west side over the summer. Chief Moore saying that this is not a common event for the area.
To be fair, to characterize this as an infrequent event, nice neighborhoods, good people.
Neighbors told me today this shooting unusual for their normally quiet subdivision. Chief Moore saying that because incidents like this are so rare, they gather the full attention of the force.
We feel a strong commitment to our victims' families, and like I said, we do not have many homicides, and we're in the very fortunate situation we bring everybody in.
And again, you just heard Janesville Police Chief Dave Moore say that homicides in Janesville are rather rare, only a couple per year on average. And because of that, they are putting 20 officers on this case for the investigation full time.
Adam Duxter live in Janesville. Adam, thank you.
Cash bail has been set at $250,000 for the man accused of stabbing and killing an 88-year-old man in a Sauk County casino parking lot. 68-year-old Robert Pulvermacher facing a charge of first-degree intentional homicide in the death of Harold Johnson earlier this month. According to a criminal complaint, Johnson was found with 5 stab wounds. Johnson's daughter told police that her father loaned Pulvermacher $100. Pulvermacher will be in court again February 14th.
As Lafayette County investigators try to determine the cause of a fatal fire, a family is mourning the loss of a loved one.
News 3's Rose Schmidt shares who he was and how they're remembering him tonight. Rose.
Yes, well, Melvin Leroy Narveson was known as Leroy to those who knew him best. His family tells me he was 89 years old, but fiercely independent. His family says he was the only one at home yesterday when a fire broke out before noon. The Lafayette County Sheriff's Office received a 911 call reporting a fire at the house on South Lake Road in Fayette Township. Firefighters found a body inside and deemed the home a total loss. Leroy's stepson, Michael, told me he lived a long life, but his family will miss him terribly.
Well, he was going to be 90, I think, next month. But he actually, down the road here, kind of took care of my mom and it helped doing a lot of things for her. They kind of took care of each other.
Michael grew up in that house where Leroy lived and says it was the gathering place for family for many years. They were rummaging through what's left today, but unfortunately lost photos and other belongings that are irreplaceable. Leroy leaves behind Sandra, his wife of more than 40 years, along with 7 children, 3 stepchildren, many grandchildren, and even some great-grandchildren.
Loss felt by many. Rose Schmidt in studio. Rose, thank you.
Thank you, Rose. A 20-year-old Janesville man who died in a 2-car crash has been identified. The Rock County Medical Examiner's Office says Tyler Sather was the victim in the crash. Deputies say it happened on Highway 51 near Edgerton yesterday morning. Officials say the driver of the other vehicle suffered a minor knee injury and was released at the scene. The crash remains under investigation, but deputies say poor winter road conditions were a contributing factor to the crash. Madison police have arrested a man and 2 teenagers involved in a string of armed robberies involving taxicab drivers.
28-year-old Eric Clay was arrested on 5 counts of robbery and is on a probation hold now. 2 juveniles have also been arrested in relation to these crimes, ranging in age from 12 to 16. Jamie Perez joins us live now at the Madison Police Department with more details about the arrest. Jamie?
Police say that there are still more arrests to be made here as they continue to look for additional juvenile suspects that were involved in this string of armed robberies. Police also say that they are working to recover the guns that were used in these cases as well. These incidents involve a string of robberies that we first reported on in December involving green cab drivers. But police have also connected this to several other armed robberies involving a home invasion and also robbing a sandwich delivery driver. Green cab was back in service the week after they were robbed, but with modified hours. And in the past month of being in service, while police searched for the suspects, green cab owners say that some of their drivers changed their hours and some stopped driving altogether. They say going forward, they're doing what they can to make sure that their drivers are safe.
We've installed some different lighting, as well as our software has a check-in process, so we always know where they're at. And then we've put up just tips for them, like, you know, when you're driving up to somewhere, make sure the person's coming from a house, not coming from walking around, and just different tips that most of the cab drivers we're familiar with, but sometimes you just have to refresh those.
While Madison police have not been able to make the connections that Clay had with some of the teens that were involved, they did say that Clay and one of the teens worked at a fast food restaurant together at one point in time. Chief Mike Koval said today that he believes Madison is a safer place now that some of the suspects are off the streets, but obviously there's still more work to be done as they're working to arrest additional suspects. So anyone with any information on this is asked to call Crime Stoppers.
And Jamie Perez reporting live in Madison tonight. And Jamie, thank you.
The White House says it is preparing a draft proclamation for President Trump to declare a national emergency along the southern border and has identified more than $7 billion in potential funds for the border wall, according to CNN. It comes after Senate lawmakers voted on a Republican plan to end the government shutdown, including $5.7 billion for President Trump's border wall. The measure failed, and then the chamber blocked a continuing resolution favored by Democrats that did not include funding for the wall.
Denying the president 0.1% for spending on needed border security is not worth hurting this many people.
Our proposal allows us to open up the government and then after government's open, settle our differences over border security.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi now says she is willing to meet face-to-face with President Trump to try to break the impasse. Metcalfe's adds its name to the long list of stores offering deals to federal workers who have been working without pay for more than a month now. The 3 Metcalfe's locations are extending their employee discount of 20% off groceries to all federal workers in Wisconsin. Other places from Potbelly's and AT&T to Sky Zone and Rosetta Stone are also offering deals. You can find a full list of deals for federal workers on our website, channel3000.com.
The most recent Marquette Law School poll released today reveals strong support for some priorities of new Governor Tony Evers. The poll surveyed 800 registered voters, conducted last Wednesday through this past Sunday, covered many topics, including should the state accept federal funding to expand Badger Care. 62% now are in favor. More split was the question about staying in the federal lawsuit to overturn the Affordable Care Act. 48 to 42% in favor of withdrawing. And the push to legalize marijuana continues to gain momentum in Wisconsin and also across the nation.
But there has been a real change over the last 10 years in support for legalization in national polling using this question. And it is now up in the high 50s, low 60s in most national polls.
On national issues, 66% of Wisconsinites oppose the government shutdown, 51% polled oppose a border wall with Mexico, and 55% support raising the minimum wage. You can see more complete poll numbers at our website, channel3000.com.
A group of 5th graders at Falk Elementary School are working on a special project to benefit the Children's Hospital. Students are making dog toys as part of a service learning project. Their goal is to raise $500 to donate to the American Family Children's Hospital. The kids have been working on making the toys for the past couple of months and plan to sell them this weekend. They say this type of project not only lets them have fun, but benefits a great cause.
Makes me feel that I've made a change. Like the tiniest change in the world could change a lot, and just do it if you feel like it.
And it you know, some kids, like, it was around the holidays when he decided to do this, and, you know, the kids sometimes don't get to be with their parents for Christmas and stuff.
So just a little bit of helping could help a lot.
Way to do something good, kids. If you'd like to buy a toy or help donate to the cause, the class will be selling them this weekend, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Miller & Sons in Verona, and then from 3:30 to 6:30 at Liliana's in Fitchburg. If they don't sell all the toys then, the rest will be available at Tabby Jack's in Middleton on Sunday for their Puppy Bowl.
Great job.
Yeah. There's more to come tonight on News 3 at 5. When we come back, the man accused of killing 5 people at a Florida bank makes his first court appearance, what police believe was his motive.
And we have mixed results today and Thursday trading at Wall Street. The Dow lost 22, the NASDAQ up almost 48. The S&P 500 added close to 4. We'll be right back. The Florida man accused of killing 5 people in a bank made his first court appearance this morning in Sebring, Florida.
Zephan Zaver appeared before a Florida judge by video conference this morning on first-degree murder charges. The 21-year-old is accused of opening fire Wednesday inside the Central Florida bank, killing 5 people. Local police in Sebring are calling it cold-blooded murder.
We have no information as to this time as to what his true motive may have been. We believe that it is a random act.
State records show Zaver was training to be a prison guard, but recently resigned. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. Venezuela is in crisis as President Nicolas Maduro fights to stay in power. Maduro brushed off international calls for him to step down while addressing the country's Supreme Court. His government is feeling pressure following violent protests there. Supporters of opposition leader Juan Guaido clashed with police. Guaido went into hiding after declaring himself interim president. President Trump pledged to support Guaido, prompting Maduro to order all American diplomats out of the country within 72 hours. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that the embattled leader does not have the authority to make that call.
All right, around here, the big issue is going to be this chilly weather coming our way. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canolte in the backyard patio. Gary, I don't know if we're going to want to have you on the patio when this starts to come our way Friday, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is, we could be talking about dangerously cold weather for the middle of next week. So we're just going to have to wait and see how bad it is. A lot of parts, depending on the wind direction, the building at least blocks the wind in certain directions. But it is starting to pick up already now that the cold front has come through. We have an alert day in the forecast for tonight into tomorrow for a wind chill advisory that runs through noon tomorrow for wind chills of 20 to perhaps 30 to 35 below zero and actual air temperatures approaching 15 below zero. But then we have alert days in the forecast for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Monday for a potential winter storm that brings the potential for heavy snow and some blowing and drifting snow either here or very close to southern Wisconsin, followed by some of the coldest weather we've seen in at least 5 years, and perhaps you have to go back to almost 1996 to see a prolonged period of temperatures of 20 below zero or colder and wind chills to 40 to 45 below zero, and high temperatures staying below zero with wind chills even during the day no warmer than 25 below zero. Now the cold front has brought some snow flurries. The front is right at the back of those flurries, so as the flurries move on through, the winds shift around to the west and they start picking up in speed. Right now the snow depth you can see after the recent storms, we went from the area of the Midwest that had the least amount of snow to one of the areas that has the most amount of snow. So that snow cover will just let the cold winds just come in unabated. Now that's also leading to some problems with blowing and drifting snow across Minnesota, Iowa, and southwestern Wisconsin, at least through the early evening hours. Wind chill advisories are in effect for pretty much the entire Midwest on this side of the Lake Michigan, with wind chill warnings to our south across northwestern Illinois and eastern Iowa. These are the current temperatures. 14 now in Madison. Milwaukee's still at 22, but temperatures are below zero by the time you get to Superior. And then you factor in those winds that are in the 15 to 25 mile per hour range across Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Wind chills already in the Twin Cities are down to 20 below zero and approaching 30 below zero in western Minnesota. Future track wind chills by early tomorrow morning show wind chills around here of about 30 to 35 below zero through the overnight hours, and then during the day only getting up to around 10 below zero, back down to 15 to 20 below zero for tomorrow night. And then on Saturday, those wind chills again staying below zero during the day, even though high temperatures get up to around 8 above. Then on Monday night from Sunday night into Monday and early Tuesday, the GFS computer model shows a swath of heavy snow right through southern Wisconsin with the heaviest totals around Madison. The European computer model, very similar in the totals, but a little farther south. So one way or another, we're going to get several inches of snow, and it could be more than that, and it'll be followed by more blowing and drifting snow. And then look at these wind chills for next week. This starts Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Those wind chills by Wednesday morning down to around 45 below zero. Daytime wind chills staying in the 20 to 25 below zero range, and back down to around 40 below zero by Thursday morning, and those wind chills staying below zero through Friday morning. You lose track of where you are with all the how cold it is. The almanac for today, a high of 22 after starting out at zero. Right now we're down to 14, and wind chill right now at zero. So our forecast includes that winter weather advisory for Grant County until 6 p.m. and then a wind chill advisory for all of southern Wisconsin through noon tomorrow. Look for a low of 13 below zero. Skies turn partly cloudy. Wind chills perhaps as cold as 35 below zero. Tomorrow bitterly cold. high of only 0. Wind chills to 15 below 0, maybe some afternoon flurries. On future track, you can see those temperatures nosediving tonight. Tomorrow, they stay below 0 for most of the day. Tomorrow night, back down to around 15 below 0. And then on Saturday, high temperatures back into the single digits above 0. As we take a look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, well, again, that winter storm potential on Monday, followed by dangerously cold weather for the middle of next week, bitterly cold weather by Friday, and then by maybe next weekend, we start to come out of the frigid temperatures with a little closer to normal weather and some chances for light snow at that time too. So, you know, it's just, where do you go after looking at a 10-day forecast like this?
Enjoy those 20-degree temperatures out there tonight, Gary. That's gonna.
They're gone. They're already gone.
They're already gone.
So,
well,
you missed them.
Yeah, it's still warmer than it's going to be, though.
Right.
Enjoy it. Thanks, Gary.
A long couple of days. Thank you, Gary.
Ahead at 5, restaurant workers are among a quarter of U.S. jobs threatened by a robot takeover. We'll have the latest on the future of the workforce after this. Welcome back. Of course, technology often makes our lives easier.
But a new report finds robots and automation is threatening to take over millions of jobs. Meg Oliver reports.
In California, a company called Iron Ox is testing robots for tasks normally done by farm workers, like seeding and harvesting.
Our goal is to use technology like robotics and machine learning to be able to grow produce at better quality, more consistently, and cheaper.
Farming is just one of the jobs that technology could eventually take over from humans.
There's going to be more change in the workplace.
Mark Murrow is the lead author of a new report from the Brookings Institution that finds about 36 million Americans have jobs that could be automated in the coming decades.
People working in restaurants, in the service sector, are going to be hard hit.
Many restaurants already offer ordering kiosks instead of cashiers. Cali Burger uses a robot named Flippy to do the cook's work, and companies are also testing machines to serve food as well. But many other industries could be affected. There are robots that can make deliveries, and autonomous vehicles are being designed and tested to one day replace truckers and taxi drivers. Murrow says people without college degrees in low-paying jobs will be hardest hit.
And a big question is what happens in the next recession? Recessions are when automation kicks in most as workers become relatively more expensive for companies.
If robots boost the bottom line for businesses, economists believe that can lead to lower prices for consumers. But it will come at a cost for millions of workers. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
And stay with us. We'll have another check your chilly forecast in a moment.
Here comes the cold.
Yeah, a little bit of snow came through earlier this afternoon. That's the leading edge of the colder air. And as the snow moves out, the cold weather is moving in. There are winter weather advisories for Grant County as well as areas to the west through early this evening for some blowing snow. But wind chill advisories in effect for all of southern Wisconsin through noon tomorrow. Wind chill warnings for eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. These are the current temperatures. We've gone from the lower 20s to the middle teens in just a couple of hours. La Crosse is already at 6 degrees, Decorah, Iowa at 1. And then look at the wind chills. We're now down to 0 in Madison, approaching 15 below 0 near the Mississippi River, and those numbers will continue to drop from here. Look for a high of tomorrow of only 0, then a potential winter storm Monday, followed by dangerously cold weather, wind chills to 45 below 0, and temperatures to 20 below 0 or colder middle of next week.
Wow. Don't you always say throw another dog on the bed?
Yeah, I might need 3.
Stay warm, folks. We'll see you at News Street 6:30 minutes.